Okay, so Trentemoller, welcome to Mixmag DJ.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much for coming. No problem.
Nice.
So it's a little bit of a different format we're doing today. Obviously, normally it's a Friday afternoon with a little bit of an office rave up, but with the forthcoming album, in fact, it's quite ethereal and there's lots of different stuff going on there. And in fact, it's a Tuesday afternoon. We're changing it up a little bit, and we're going to have you talking through some of the tunes that have inspired the forthcoming album, right?
Yeah, and actually, I will also play some of the tracks of the vocalists on the album that are singing those tracks that actually opened up my mind for their fantastic vocals.
Maybe these are the tracks that you listened to, and then was like, I want him on my album.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What have we got first up?
Yeah, actually, the first one that we can hear a little snippet of, because all tracks is typical me, but when I'm listening to music, all the tracks are like 7 or 8 or 10 minutes long. So the first artist we will hear is Lower Dens. It's a girl called Jaina Hunter. She's singing with the band Lower Dens, and she's appearing on one of the tracks on the album.
Okay.
You should check that out.
Great.
She has a really. Can we talk while the?
Yeah.
Live.
The album's got quite a crab rock feel.
Yeah. Also, so of course it was very easy for me to have her voice fitting in on one of the tracks. Thank you. and one of the other artists playing singing on my album is Sune Wagner. He's from a Danish band called Ravenets. Okay. And they have for a very long time been one of my favorite bands. So this track, me and Sune is the singer of Ravenets. We did this track actually for the former album. But it somehow really didn't work. Sune did a lot of guitars and bass, and it basically just sounded as Ravenets with Trentemøller beats on the top, and that really didn't work for me. So we actually forgot about that track, and then I found it on my hard disk while I was working on this album, and thought maybe it could be fun to take his voice and do a little bit more clubby kind of electronic feel to it. So he's out of his normally surf pop comfort zone, so to speak, and see how his voice would fit into that universe. And we can hear now one of the tracks from their last LP.
For sure. Before we put that on, just for people at home, like if you're watching, if you tap any questions in the chat box in time, hopefully we'll get them at the end, and we can ask.
Yeah.
See your fans can ask you some questions too.
You're welcome.
Let's have a listen.
Yeah. Of the whole songs, but we don't have several hours.
Exactly. Yeah. So people can go and check these out for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah.
Afterwards. Cool. And we don't get done for copyright infringement.
No.
Perfect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. So what we got next?
Yeah. Next thing is the opening track of the album is a tune that Mimi Parker is singing on. She's the lead singer in a band called Low. And that's another band that I've been a huge fan of for several years. They're from the States, and they really do this kind of slowcore. Is this genre called, I think. So it's really deep and dark and really heavy, but still has some light in it and some hope. And Mimi Parker and Alan Sparhawk, they are actually a married couple, so they are making music together, and their two voices together are fantastic. It's really beautiful. This is one of their tracks from the last album that they had out. Okay. I just have to find it here. It's a really beautiful thing where they always, as I said, they are singing at the same time in two different pitches, so it's something special for them.
How lucky that they actually,
Yeah.
Their voices match.
Yeah. That is pretty lucky. Also, when they live together and don't fight after each show. And the funny thing is that when I wrote this song, I was definitely having Mimi Parker's voice in my head, but I didn't knew them and I didn't know how to contact them. So it was quite a struggle to find them. And I found out that Mimi rarely uses a phone and never uses the internet. So that was pretty fun to try to record
it in like a sauna in the middle of nowhere or something where they live. Or
Definitely. When I got the result back, it was fantastic to hear her voice on the top of my instrumental, and it really fitted perfectly. Sometimes you really have to add things and really try to fit in the music, but this time it was just like, okay, this is perfect. So it doesn't need anything. So that was perfect.
Amazing.
hard to only play 1 or 2 minutes of it because you need to hear it in the full version, of course. But it gives a little insight on what she's capable of vocal-wise, and that was something that I really fell in love with the first time that I was listening to this band.
Sure.
Next thing.
What you're saying about the lovely harmonics on it.
Yeah, definitely. And this track, even if it's not electronic, it still has this sidechain compressor that actually you know from a lot of dance production, but that works very well on this track. So they are this band also sometimes I think actually they're using some elements from electronic music, but they are using it in their totally own way. I really love that fact.
Cool. Okay, so. What's next up?
Yeah, next up is actually my new single for the forthcoming album. It's called Never Stop Running. It's with a guy called Johnny Pierce. Normally he's the front singer in a band from the States also called the Drums. Yeah. And the first time that I heard them was I think 3 or 4 years ago with their debut album, and it was with this track called Let's Go Surfing. And I think that I have something about I love surf music also, and this is not really like a surf track, but it has it still reminds me a little bit of Beach Boys nearly, because it has some of their vocal harmonies, and then it's just a quite happy song and quite different from what we just heard. So yeah. In a drum and bass DJ set, if you are up for that, and I would love to hear that.
That'd be wicked. Yeah. Go see Philly D down at Creekfield to dropping it. Okay, and we were saying also transport you to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Got that sort of like
yeah, and you can nearly feel the sun and the waves, and
sick.
It's good.
Okay, so next.
Yeah, next track is actually it's a track with a band called Blonde Redhead. It's also one of my favorite bands. I was so lucky to have many of my idols, you can say, working with me on the album. And Blonde Redhead has this fantastic singer Katsu. She's a Japanese singer, and she has so much energy also playing live when they're playing live, but she also has a really unique and personal voice, I think. And I was doing, we were doing some gigs together 2 years ago. We played a lot of the same festivals, so we started out hanging out backstage because they often played the same night as we did. And then we just talked about one day it could be great to do something together, and then I kind of forgot about it a bit because it was 2 years ago. But then suddenly I was doing this track that has a quite electronic down tempo feel on it, and I was thinking, hey, maybe it could be a good idea to maybe ask her if she would be up for it. Again, she's normally doing something that is quite differently. It's more indie rock pop thing, but that's also on my album. You could check it out. The 23 of September when it's out there. Yeah, so I cannot really play anything from that album yet, but we can hear a track called Elephant Woman with Blonde Redhead.
Let's put it on.
other and have multi-layered melodies and things in their music, and that is something that I also really like to try to do myself also.
Sure.
Next thing is that I want to play. Now we have been through many of the artists of the album, but you also asked me what really inspired me, and one of the bands that has been inspiring me for many years is actually one of the first electronic acts. Many think of Kraftwerk maybe as one of the first guys doing electronic music, but there's also a band called Suicide from New York, and they made something that was quite different from Kraftwerk. It was more rock and roll, kind of nearly punk style, but it was still only made with drum machines and keyboards, no guitars and stuff. And you know, back then it was really mind blowing for people because it was in the middle of the punk area and everyone wanted guitars and drums, and suddenly these two guys came and this fantastic, really weird music that has some rockabilly things to it.
It was almost like, because I guess it was the CBGB's era, like in New York, and then like Suicide, one of my favourite tunes, like Dream Baby Dream, came out on Z Records, isn't it? Mutant Disco type thing.
Yeah. So they're also
like, so it's almost that post
disco.
Yeah,
kind of
brilliant.
and we can just hear that one of their best tracks is a track called Ghost Rider. Sure. That it's my favorite track. MIA actually did use a sample from that. I didn't think it worked. It's just my opinion. It did. I didn't really like it, but it's maybe because I'm such a big fan of Suicide, and you know, if you have to sample them, you should. I think you should be a little bit more creative and do something about it. But okay.
It's a little bit sacred. It's like
No. But nothing is for me really sacred, because if you're really using it in a creative way, I think everything is actually possible. But I think it was a little bit a boring way to use it. But that's just my opinion. But now listen to the original.
Ghost Rider, motorcycle hero. He's a looking so cute. Sneaking round in a blue jumpsuit. Ghost Rider, motorcycle hero. Baby, he's a blazing away. Like the stars in the universe. Ghost Rider, motorcycle hero. Baby, he's a screaming the truth. America's killing its youth. Baby, he's a screaming away. America is killing its youth.
I know it's really the wrong thing to do, but I have to fade because I want to play one more last track, and it is it's a young guy called. He's doing his project called Dirty Beaches, and I really think it's fantastic. It is only this one guy doing beats and his vocals and guitars through a guitar amp. And that is his sound. Everything goes through this guitar amp, and he really does some really cool stuff. I think he's very much inspired by Suicide, and maybe I have the track here so we can hear it. Just have to find it.
What's this guy's name again?
He's called Dirty Beaches, and I actually think that I forgot to put it on the memory stick. That's really it's here. Dream in Neon. And remember the sound that we just heard, and listen to this. It has some of the same stuff. Oh.
Hey, there you go, DJ.